guys? Welcome back to the new season of ToNight's Watch, where we bring you Game of Thrones, the old seasons, and the new. I'm Geoff.
I'm Ron.
And I didn't fuck up the intro, which I totally thought I was, because we've been doing the recap shows. But Ron, winter is here.
Winter
Finally.
is fucking here.
It feels like we've been waiting for this season for fucking ever, and it finally arrived. And the first thing I want to talk about is that cold open. Is so fucking amazing, dude.
Oh, I know.
Like, I don't even... Okay. David Bradley is even better than I thought he was, and I already respected him, like, immensely.
I know. Same here. Did you have any clue what was going on until the reveal?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, because they, in the little recap... Did you watch the recap, or did you just cut forward?
No.
Because, like, the last thing they show in the recap is Arya killing him.
Right.
So
yeah, and they did it switching back and forth between the Red Wedding and her.
Yeah.
So
from the whole time,
because when it cut to that, I was like, "What was this like before that happened?" Like I had zero idea.
See, I knew the entire time what was going on.
I tell you this: I'm sitting here watching it at my computer, and then as soon as he starts like talking against everyone, I'm like, like what?
See, As soon as they showed him there, because Game of Thrones typically, like, the only time Game of Thrones ever really does a flashback is when it has to do with, like, literally going back in time, when it has to do with the Three-Eyed Raven stuff.
Right.
So my brain immediately went to, oh fuck, Arya isn't done, and she's using I forget, it was the House of Black and White magic or whatever.
Yes.
And dude, his acting, where he is in full Walder Frey mode for the first like 2 minutes of his speech, and then when he turns on a subtle dime, it's hard to explain. He's still Walder Frey, and then he's just like, boom, this is David Bradley, almost like it's hard to explain the performance because he is being himself, but he's not at the same time.
Exactly. He's being himself, yet he's being someone pretending to be him. So he's just ever so just off. Just ever so slightly off.
It was a masterclass.
It was incredible. And yeah, I need to check out more of his shit because I knew he was an excellent actor. I knew that. I mean, fuck, I know his name, David Bradley. But, I mean, Jesus.
Yeah, well, you get more of it in Doctor Who. I'm even more excited for that Christmas special for this year.
3 doctors at least so far in that special.
So, I just found it interesting, like, because once he pulls the face off, and it's it is Arya.
Yeah.
Like her shit-eating grin as she is walking through like the 100 or so people she has just killed in cold blood. Like, she's an awesome yet like adorable little psychopath.
Like,
and
she didn't just cut the head off the snake. She just diced the snake head to tail. Yeah.
Man, if I hadn't been so excited to watch the rest of the episode, I would have rewound that opening scene like 2 or 3 times because it was just great.
If you recall, like, there's like no one left. Like, she fed him his own sons and then killed him and then took over him and killed all the other Freys because they make a point of saying that like 3 times that this is all the Freys.
Yeah, I've gathered up every Frey worth a damn.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So excellent. Now, did you watch the recap with Benioff and Weiss after the episode?
The inside the episode?
Yeah, the like inside scoop thing. Yeah, I found it interesting. I found it interesting too that originally was not the opening.
Right, and it wasn't until they saw David Bradley's performance.
Once they saw the performance, they were like, "We're opening the season with that." And to me, that is the most memorable season opener moment they've had.
Yeah, I mean, they don't do they do more cold opens than you remember, but it's not really one of those things where they do cold opens all the time.
And especially for a season.
They've only got a handful of them.
Yeah, and especially for a season opener. Yeah,
so it makes me wonder what their cold open was that they replaced.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, because obviously they were always going to save as much.
But the way the episode ends, not to get ahead of ourselves, I almost feel like it's maybe that... Remember that first clip it shows of Khaleesi on her ships on her way? And then later we come back and she's here? I almost feel like that would be something logical to open the season with her there, because you're closing the episode with her landing.
I think it was. I bet they originally probably opened it with Sansa and Jon, because I think the intention was always to end the episode with Khaleesi arriving, because it's such a big moment that.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's why it would have showed her at the beginning, and then at the end of the episode, it would have showed her landing.
Oh, okay. You're saying okay. I get what you're saying now.
But why don't the Snow and Sansa stuff was pretty cool.
Yeah, why don't we go ahead and switch to that? So, they open up the season with those two basically when they're in kind of like a council meeting with all of the other heads of the northern families while they're trying to kind of figure out what to do. And also, Tormund is there, representing the.
Oh, Tormund.
Fucking love me some Tormund too.
I just hear his name and I start smiling.
So he's there kind of like representing the wildlings, and Snow's kind of little battle plan is they're actually going to use the wildlings as Night's Watchmen, which is pretty fucking genius. Like, they're already there, and they are better at battling the elements, so it makes sense to have them, that it sucks that they're like Operation Wildling Shield, but that's kind of like what's going on. But I like, too, how Tormund has like so much respect for Snow. He's just like, okay, we'll do it.
The way he carries himself at first, it's almost like he's going to object, and he's like, nah, we'll be there.
We'll do it. Yeah, it's just like, fuck it. Because he realizes
think about wildlings, too. It's not their style to kind of hide behind, another army or to hide behind anything. They want to be out in the open and in the middle of the fight.
Yes.
So it's the perfect thing for them.
Yeah, they want to be front and center.
If they're going to fight this battle, it's the perfect thing for them, perfect place to be.
Yeah. And Tormund was also there at Hardhome and knows what they're up against. So as basically as combined of forces as they can be, the better off they are.
It's funny how the people that were at Hardhome are just banded together. Like, there is nothing.
They've seen some shit.
The people that weren't there were like, and then the people that were there were like, no, you shut the fuck up. You weren't there.
Exactly. And we're going to segue that into basically all of the internal turmoil between Sansa's point of view and Snow's.
Yes.
Because you have to think about it. What I actually really liked about all of their scenes together, about their disagreements and Sansa publicly undermining him, is that they're both absolutely right in everything they say. They're just coming at it from different circumstances. Because
one is coming from the direction that a Stark should take. The other's coming from fucking John Connor.
Yeah, pretty much. Because Snow is absolutely right in like, bitch, there be zombies. Like, fuck Cersei. I have seen some shit. You don't know what you... Because I think one of his quotes once after they've kind of caught up with each other after the council meeting, he's like, if you had seen what I have seen, you would be with me. It's just...
He said something like after he saw him, he thinks about little else and you would too.
Yes, something exactly. Like but when you think about like tracking Sansa's thing throughout the show, she is absolutely right too, because
Cersei will find a fucking way.
And Sansa was used to dealing with Cersei while she still had children and had something to lose, and now she is even worse because she has nothing to lose. She's just in berserk, power hungry rage mode and just gonna kill fucking everyone, because what else does she have to do right now?
Well, like Benioff and Weiss pointed out, she's killed hundreds if not thousands of innocent people already just to take out a couple of her enemies.
And that was while she still had a child left. When she set up the bombing at the Sept, Tommen was still alive. So now she is even, like, she did that with something to lose, so she's only worse now. But now what was interesting is every time Sansa opened up her mouth, kind of, pointing out what they should do about the Karstarks, and I think it was the Umbers, the two families that had betrayed the Starks earlier on in the war, is... Every single time Sansa opened her mouth, they would cut over to Littlefinger, because he is... It's hard to explain, like, he is fascinated with, like, what he's turned her into, I think.
Yes.
He is almost, like, spurring her on just to see what she'll do. Because she's basically just like a plaything to him at this moment. I think he is infatuated with her because he sees so much of himself in her.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I completely agree. Like, it's pretty obvious that at this point he just can't look away. Like, he's sticking around and he's hanging out just to see what she'll say or what she'll do.
Because it's like, obviously he was always obsessed with Kat, but now he because of Sansa's upbringing over the last couple of years in the course of the show, she's basically like half cat and half Littlefinger. It's this weird like thing where
which can be a pretty crazy combination because Kat was pretty headstrong.
Yeah, she's got that plus like the more like what's crazy is like even when Littlefinger goes out to talk to her later, Sansa's had enough of Littlefinger's shit. He just saved all of their asses by bringing in the cavalry, and she is still just like, what was her line like? Save me the last thing you're about to say. I'm sure it's clever or something like that.
Yeah, like, no need to seize the last word. I'll just assume it was clever.
Yes. So she's all done with Littlefinger shit. But But yeah, what would you have done in the scenario where Jon was put in, where basically Sansa is saying they betrayed us, fuck them, and he's in the because she is in the mindset of like Cersei and Littlefinger. Yes. She's like cutthroat, no prisoners. Snow has seen Hardhome. Snow knows the value of numbers right now.
Yes.
Snow wants every single, and that's a big that's a big point too. He's talking about we need every person, male or female, between the ages of 10 and 60, and that is unheard of. Yeah. Because you can just tell by the way everyone looks at Brienne walking around. Like that's not a common thing. Yes. So for him, he like I was saying, like he knows the value of every warm body they have in this battle.
Yeah. I side with Jon because he needs every man he can get. We've seen what the fuck the White Walkers are capable of at Hardhome. That was your taste of shit to come later on. That was your little taste up front. And Jon's going to need every man he can get. And Robb already made the mistake of going Sansa's route, sort of. Like, it wasn't punish the whole family, but he, instead of holding them hostage like he had the opportunity to, he executed them and lost them all, and then he had no men. Not that it would have mattered anyway because of the Red Wedding, but Jon, I think, is making the opposite of that call. Yeah. Like, he's now inviting those families back in. He's sparing them their ancestral homes. He's giving them a reason to fight because they need to protect those ancestral homes now that they're being allowed to keep them.
Yes, and he also...
It was a pretty genius political move, really.
Yes.
Even though he's taking the moral high ground doing it, it's also a very genius political play.
Yeah,
I mean, you saw people's reactions to it in the room,
and it was also smart because he's taking into account how isolated an incident, particularly the thing with Karstark, was.
Yes,
they were loyal to their family for centuries, like he points out. What turned them on him, on the family, was the dude's son getting killed, or it was his son getting killed by Jaime, I believe. Yeah. That's how it went down. So yeah, that was incredible. Like that was the decision of one, basically, like even because we just recently covered the episode when we were going back to the earlier seasons. Like not even everyone that was involved with the assassination of the Lannister cousins was on board because the guy that was there was just like, they made me do it. You know, it was super isolated, and I do side with him. But at the same time, Sansa does make some good points. It's just they're coming at it from different angles.
Right.
Why don't we transition to, they did show a kind of, I think it was tied. Now, when they show the army coming in of all the White Walkers, was that tied in with Bran? Was that his vision coming in? Or am I getting some of the sequences mixed up? Because I want to say it was towards the beginning of the episode when they showed that. It was
towards the beginning of the episode. And it does cut to Bran thereafter, I think.
So but that's what I was led to assume, that was kind of like him seeing what was coming.
I didn't know if that was like real time or if that was one of his visions
or something.
But it's real time.
Because when they showed the fucking giants as the White Walkers,
I was gonna say, was I supposed to know they have giants?
That was I'm pretty sure that was the first time they've shown them, because the only time we've ever seen a giant near them was with I'm blanking on his name, but like the giant that died in the Battle of the Bastards. He was at Hardhome. He was fighting him, but he made it through the fight. So I'm pretty sure that's the first time we've seen White Walker giants.
Because it starts out with just the regular troops coming at you, and then in the background you start seeing the giants.
Yeah,
and I was like, did I know that?
Because the last frame they show of that army coming in is like a close up of the giant's face. So I think that was accentuating the fact that like shit is about to go down. It's even worse than you thought, because I didn't even put two and two together. Like the giants have been so few and far in between. I never really like thought ahead to that being a thing. And then when I showed them, I was like, do not want.
You just pull your blanket up over your face slowly.
Pretty much. Now they did introduce Bran and I think it was Mira. I think that's Jojen's sister's name. So they finally arrive at the Night's Watch with Ed. Ed kind of brings them in. And all I have to say, continuing my trend of the last like 4 fucking years we've been talking about the show, Bran better be fucking worthwhile after all of the, because like they're literally like limping up to the fucking castle gates because of how many people he's gotten killed. So his storyline better have a fucking payoff. Yes. He better be warging some dragons and kicking some ass or something. Because good God. You know what's going to happen. I hate Bran so much. He's going to be like the only person left alive at the end of the last season.
Right. Yeah, he's going to be the one on the Iron Throne.
It's going to be Bran on the Iron Throne and Gendry and Arya's wolf rowing into Bay, and they're going to be the only 3 things standing. That's what's going to happen. Calling it now. Okay, why don't we switch over and talk about where they open up with the Lannisters. They open up.
Can we talk about one thing before we move on?
Yes.
Lest we forget. When Brienne and Pod are training in the Tormund, like, you are a lucky man.
I love Tormund's dynamic with Brienne so much. And they keep making a point to make these like heartwarming jokes about it that I think it's going to end horribly.
I think it is
I'm gonna be crying.
One or both of them is going to die.
Yeah, I think
I could see both of them being back to back, and they both go down fighting together.
Yeah, there's going to be something tragic just because this goddamn show that I love hates so much.
As soon as like she sees him coming, so she's distracted. Pod whacks her on the shoulder, and she looks at him like a fucking cheap shot, and she just punches him down. She hits him in the chest, if I recall, and it knocks him.
She hits him like full fucking like solar plexus, like wind has been knocked out.
Falcon punch. Yeah. Right to the chest. And then Tormund's just like, you're a lucky man.
Pretty much.
It was one of my favorite moments of the episode.
Yeah, Tormund is already like, he's barely been, like when you think about it, Tormund has been in the show very little, but I fucking love that guy.
He might total like 30, 40 minutes on screen at this point.
And he's so great in all of those minutes. I love him. So let's talk about where Cersei and Jaime are at the beginning of the episode. When they transition to them, Cersei is walking throughout the like little mural of the West. I was about to say the Westerospective map. That is actually literally what I was about to say. The map of Westeros. Shameless
the Westerosi map.
Yes, that she's having kind of made where she's like walking through it, you know, talking to him about all of the, you know, they're basically fucked on all sides.
Yes.
They have enemies at all directions. And then she even at one point makes like the point of saying, I'm the queen of the 7 kingdoms. And Jaime's just straight up like, maybe three.
Maybe 3.
And yeah, I did think it was very interesting too. And Benioff and Weiss alluded to it when they were doing the recap about how Jaime actually makes an effort to try and talk to her about Tommen.
Yes.
And she is just not having it. Her only outlet of distraction is going about basically maneuvering the game. That's her escape. And man, I cannot wait to see what becomes of their storyline together because of all of the background with Jaime being the Kingslayer.
I feel like he's going to be a Queenslayer.
I think he's going to be in the situation where he considers killing her and he can't do it. I think they're both going to probably die together.
Do you think he's going to consider doing it because he's in the same situation he was in before, but she gets him first and he can't do it, and then she kills him because he hesitates?
So I think one of two things is going to happen. They're going to lose the battle at King's Landing. They're going to be coming in after him. Jamie maybe gets into a point where he has the opportunity where he could and probably should kill her, but he won't be able to do it. And either she will kill him first and they die together, or she won't kill him and they'll just die together. I think they will die together. And fuck them for being able to make you like Jamie as much as we do at this point.
I know.
Because you have every reason to fucking hate that guy, but you
shoved a 10-year-old out of a window, and he's not only paralyzed, his personality is completely gone.
His acting skills just go out the fucking window.
I see what you did there, sir.
So let's see. Now, there was one point in the episode that I found interesting just because of the guest actor choice, which you probably... Well, the guest star, I should say. Do you know the scene where Arya is walking through the woods and the guy is singing?
Yes.
The guy singing is Ed Sheeran, who is the pop singer.
Huh.
And
I know the name, but...
And I love Ed Sheeran, so it completely took me out of the episode for a few minutes. Like, I liked the scene and like how it all kind of just boils up to that one joke.
Yeah.
You know, I'm here to kill the queen. It was a cool scene, but I wish they hadn't picked him for the role, just because I'm just like, what the fuck is Ed Sheeran doing in Game of Thrones? Like, that was kind of I just wanted to quickly mention that. So I'm running through the cast just to make sure what all point. Oh, okay. Here we go. We haven't talked about Maester Hogwarts yet. We need to talk about Maester Hogwarts. How much does Maester Hogwarts fucking suck?
Oh my god, dude. That montage of Sam's daily routines, though, I laughed my ass off. Because it starts out slow. They give you every detail of everything. And as it progresses, it speeds up slowly. And then eventually it's just do. And I'm laughing my ass off.
Yes, it was fucking genius. And they have never done a montage on Game of Thrones until then. And Game of Thrones not only can pull off fart jokes, as we've seen, they can pull off goddamn montages. So like just everything is fair game. So basically, I do also like how I was last year. I jokingly called it Maester Hogwarts. I think during one of our Tonight's Watch episodes, there's literally a forbidden section in the fucking library. I'm like, Jesus Christ! But basically, Sam is there on like his little like Mission Impossible routine. Like he actually wants to be a Maester, but mostly he's there to get info on anything he can find about the White Walkers. He eventually sneaks in and steals like their archived books about the White Walkers and figures out that
there's a whole mountain of dragon glass.
Underneath Dragonstone is basically a gigantic mine that they can use to pretty much... Dragonstone is so huge, they would have enough to supply everyone with something, pretty much. That's like their one chance they have. So he sends the Raven, and basically he's going to alert John.
He's planning to send a Raven. We're assuming he's either sent it or is in the process of trying to. We don't know that it actually made it out yet.
Yeah, but it's
because I've got the feeling it's intercepted by one party or another.
Yeah,
I'm thinking like the head maester dude might like bring it to his attention, like have it in his hand or something.
Yes. Let's see. Now, one point I wanted to cut back to that I'd forgotten about the Cersei and Jaime thing is it's important that we note she is going to try to use the Greyjoy fleet under Euron.
Right.
Now, the scene where Euron goes into the throne room, you kind of have to respect the cojones that guy has. He has no one around him. He is just with them. And he fucking knows how nuts she is because what she did is basically kind of like common knowledge. It's for ostensibly at least. And him to be taking pot shots at Jaime, you were alluding to with the hands, you're just like, God damn, dude. Now, he wants to marry her to basically be, king.
Yes, of the Three Kingdoms.
of the 2 3/4 kingdoms. And he says, I'm going to bring you basically like a gift that you can't refuse. Now, my immediate reaction was he's going to try to get Tyrion. What did you jump to as far as what you would think he would be bringing her?
I was thinking either Tyrion or one of the Starks.
Because, like...
Because, I mean, the Iron Islands have already taken over Winterfell once. I mean, let's be honest.
It's true. But what made me think of Tyrion is how many times in that conversation between Cersei and Jaime while they were walking around the mural, she talked about how much she hated Tyrion.
Yeah.
She pretty much knows Tyrion didn't kill Joffrey, but she still blames him for it. So to me, that is like the one thing in the world she wants the most, is she basically wants to pull Tyrion apart.
Yep.
That's the way I think she's looking at it. So I'm thinking one of the maybe endpoints of the season is Tyrion being kidnapped and taken to King's Landing. I could see them going that route.
I agree.
Let's see. I'm trying to just get back to points that
The Hound.
Yes. Let's talk about the Hound with the Brotherhood Without Banners guys. I love their dynamic, by the way. The dynamics between the Hound, Beric, and Thoros. It's all gold. Like, I love when they first show them. They're on horseback in the blizzard, basically. And Thoros is talking about how, we need to find our way inside. It's too cold. He's like, oh, did the Lord of Light tell you that? He says at every opportunity, he is busting their balls, even though he knows to some extent their religion is legit, because he saw the dude to his right, resurrected from the dead.
The most impossible thing you can think of, he saw.
Yes.
But yeah, I love also when he was like, he's like, you bald cunt, you think you're fooling someone with
that top knot?
Top knot.
I'm pretty sure if you had a cunt counter from the Hound on the bottom of the screen, it might have like broken the scale, because he says it. The Hound has like 10 minutes of screen time. Pretty sure he says cunt like 10 to 15 times, like every opportunity he has.
But each one has like their own flavor, Jeff. Each one, it's funnier than the last time.
Rory McCrane, I think maybe is his last name. I fucking love Rory McCann, that is his name. I fucking love him so much. I'm on record as the Hound's one of our absolute favorite characters.
Yes.
And again, like, damn, they do a good job about making you like the Hound.
You have every reason.
You have
to
every reason.
Absolutely hate that man.
Exactly. And even more so that shown.
Did you recognize the house the moment you saw it?
Now, until they had shown that little story bit in the recap, I had forgotten about it. But as soon as they started writing,
I have always remembered that, because I believe that's even it's either right before or that same episode when they have the conversation about naming their swords and he says lots of cunts. It's shortly after that, I believe.
Yeah, I think
that is one that's always stuck with me, because he seems to always be teetering on the edge of good or bad, and then he just flat out murders a family for silver.
Yeah. And when you see him in this episode, when they go back to that very same house, and man, when you see their skeletons next to each other, like those characters were barely in the show, but my heart sank seeing that. That was just heartbreaking. Yes. And then when you see Beric figure out kind of what happened, that the dad had killed the daughter to keep her from starving.
And his logic is pretty sound.
Yes.
He's just completely wrong.
It's brutal, because that's the thing, though. His Beric's description about the way it went down isn't necessarily wrong, though, because the daughter, obviously is dead, and it has. Now, did he actually stab him, or did he just knock him out? I can't remember what the Hound did.
I want to say he actually stabbed him.
Did he? I can't. So basically,
we're not that far along in Westerospective.
Yeah, I cannot remember. I'm sure someone comments, they will correct us, because the internet. But when he sets about going inside, and then you just see he's terrified to go near the house. Like, he is in a full blown mode of guilt.
Yes,
which Benioff and Weiss also allude to in the recap, basically saying that is a new thing for him, because he is in this episode he's almost fronting his sarcasm, like just to cope, because he actually had something to feel bad about when he never has before. His like the way he's going about it isn't genuine, and I think when, especially like when he sees in the fire all of the stuff that we know is true, it's the White Walker army, moving in, and they're even closer than they think, because he talks about how they were near an arrowhead near the wall. Yes. So they're getting pretty damn close. And like him just like actually seeing all the stuff happen in the fire, I think the next time they come back to them, it shows him burying the bodies. That was kind of like one of like the final moments that like clicked with him. That he's actually. I
like the words he says over their graveside.
He starts like half of the prayer, like, I fucking forgot the rest. Throws the shovel down and walks away.
Well, he says, I forget the rest. He said, you deserved better than this. I'm sorry you're dead. And then he throws a shovel down and walks away.
It's like he's trying to be kind, but he can't help but be himself, and he's still blunt the way.
He's still a dick.
he's still an asshole about it. He's like, he has gone out in the blizzard to bury them when he really didn't have to, and he still finds a way to be a dick about it. But
yeah,
I love the Hound. He's such an interesting character. Now,
did you notice when he said that I've known better men than you, and they end up hanging from rafters or whatever? Ian McShane immediately popped into my head with the hanging from rafters.
Oh yeah, I'd forgotten about that, but yeah, that's a good.
Because when he comes back, like everybody's like dead, and he's dangling from one of the rafters in the church they're building.
It's very interesting too, like what exactly is Barrick's purpose? Because the only other person we've seen successfully resurrected is Snow. Yeah. And Snow obviously has a heavy purpose with all the shit going down. So what's Barrick's kind of play on it? But we're going to go back to Maester.
I wonder what he knows. I wonder what all he knows of like the adventures of Ned Stark and everything.
It feels like, because of this episode, like they're setting up.
Could he possibly know that Snow's not a Stark?
He has to play into the final plot to some capacity, or they wouldn't have had that many conversations about basically like, why the fuck are you here type of thing. But we're gonna transition now back to Maester Hogwarts, and like one of the big surprises of the episode to me that like took me aback, because they show Sam back to doing his chores non-montage. When Jorah was revealed as being in one of the cells, did you like flip shit? Because I did not see that coming even a little bit.
I did not see that coming at all. And apparently his condition is much worse.
So he says, basically, from the shadows, is she here yet, Daenerys Stormborn, the Dragon Queen, or I forget his terminology, but something like that.
Yeah.
And then, for what I take, basically, like, the direction you go with his character is as soon he's basically there getting treatment, even though he knows he's kind of fucked.
Yes.
The way I took it, he is getting treatment to last just long enough for her to arrive, for him to go help her in one last stand, and that's
the way I take it.
That's going to be his character.
Because
arc.
He's in love with her. The last thing he wants to see is her on the throne, and then his mission is done.
Yeah. Just how cool is it?
I love Jorah so much.
Jorah's story.
He's in my top 3 favorite characters. I love Jorah.
He's easily in my top 5, I think. His storyline alone could be enough to make an entire book series over.
Oh, I know.
And he is
You can say that for a number of the characters.
You could say that with the Hound. You could like so many, like that is what makes the show so special. All the supporting characters have stories that are good enough, and their personalities are intriguing enough. They could all have their own novels. But especially like when you consider like the romantic aspects of his relationship with Khaleesi, like that could easily be a book series all on its own.
Yeah.
Like that's one of the things I am most excited for when I actually go back and read the novels after the show's over. Is
his
to get
internal monologue.
Get more stuff with Jorah, is because they give him as much time as humanly possible. But I feel like his story is
still underserved.
Because like his story is great, but he is
Ian Glenn is amazing.
So good. He's like the 30th most important character on the show, something like that.
Something like that.
So yeah, they do a great job fitting in as much time as they can to get across these storylines with as little airtime as they get.
Yes.
So he alludes to that's their segue to showing Khaleesi arrive as like, is she here? He's like, and Sam's like, I haven't heard anything yet. And then they cut, and they show Khaleesi coming in with the fleet behind her and the dragons, and oh my god, the CGI and everything was just gorgeous.
Yes.
Like, I thought the creative decision to have zero dialogue and only music was brilliant because because when you think about it, obviously,
because at this point, you're basically one of Khaleesi's ranks. You're experiencing this moment with her. Because to choose to not have any dialogue and to even have the subtle things like even Tyrion is hanging back and
not saying
when
a word.
Grey Worm was going to step up and Missandei grabs his arm, things like that, it just made it that much better.
Because when you think about it, obviously it's been a journey for all of them getting here, but it's been a journey for the viewer as well because this show started 7 years ago. We've been following these characters for the better part of a decade. And it felt emotional to me watching her land, and the way that the shot, she stopped just to touch the sand.
I was gonna say, when she touches the sand was an emotional moment for me.
Yeah, and it was probably like you alluded to specifically with Tyrion. That is probably the longest Tyrion has ever been on screen without saying something smartass. So that is astounding in its own
right.
That
and Grandma Tyrell.
Pretty much. And when because it was probably what would you say, like 8 to 10 minutes of just them kind of walking through Dragonstone, pretty much
5 to 8,
something like that.
Yeah,
but for that amount of time,
I think it feels longer as you're not used to no dialogue.
For that amount of time to not have dialogue, it was really well done because the music has to be fantastic to.
Well, they're acting as well.
Yeah, their acting without speaking has to be great. The music has to pace the sequence because otherwise it can feel awkward if your music isn't really good for that amount of time without dialogue. Masterfully done. And in the way, the editing to fade to black, where she is just like, shall we begin? Boom. I was like, oh, I need more right now. And I hate you, HBO, for making me wait another week for more.
So now my question is, Dragonglass was free for the taking, then now it's owned by Khaleesi Incorporated. So here's my kind of guesstimation, and obviously half of this isn't going to happen because it's too easy to guess. But so at some point, Khaleesi is going to come into contact with Snow. Maybe even Snow going to her. It's like, I'll help you take them out if you help us, because we kind of need those dragons. They're kind of awesome. He's in the position to say that because the Stark's worst enemy is on the throne right now. And
it's a mutually beneficial arrangement, too.
Yes.
Because they have no interest in taking the Iron Throne.
Yes.
They just want shit to go back to normal. They don't want to rule. So it works for both
They want the living
parties.
to stay alive.
Yes. So basically, something's going to... Maybe it's Beric or something. They have to find out that Snow is a Targaryen somehow. Yes. Or maybe even they could actually... I'm trying to remember. Now, they did the reveal that Snow was a Targaryen in the Bran sequence. Does Bran know officially?
I assume that means Bran knows.
Because the way that they kind of frame it is everything you're seeing in those visions is what he's seeing.
Yes.
So Bran could potentially be the capacity behind the reveal as well. But I think Khaleesi probably won't want to trust Snow until they figure out for sure that he is a Targaryen. She actually has another relative. That would be huge for her because she feels all alone in the world, pretty much.
Now, would that make her help him, or would that turn her against him?
I think that would absolutely make her want to work with him
because
she get into.
He's older and male, and as kings and the right to heir goes.
I think that's the thing, though. I think once you get them in a room together and she sees that something has to happen, she has to be introduced to the White Walker threat to realize his motivations go beyond a simple throne.
Yes.
And I think the familial ties will actually work out in Snow's favor because her only other relative was killed before her.
Mm-hmm.
He deserved it, but that was her last official relative as far as she knows. Her whole family, as far as Khal Drogo and the baby, are gone. That would be someone, and she's no longer associated with Jorah really in her eyes because he betrayed her. and she's no longer associated with what was the dude she left back in Marine? Fucking blanking on his name, but you know who I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
Dario Naharis. She's no longer associated with him. So yeah, I think I can't wait to see what they do, because you can connect the dots, but they're gonna go against that expectation.
Yes.
So
it can go a myriad of ways.
Yes. And we only have now 12 episodes left. And like when you think about that, you're just like, holy shit's going down. It's going down quicker than you realize.
How soon did you expect her to land in Westeros?
I figured they would actually have, I think we even talked about it. I was expecting them to have some plot lines as far as during their travels over.
Yeah.
Like something while they were.
I was thinking at best halfway through the season.
Halfway, yeah. Like that would have been my estimation too.
When
I love
she
it, though.
landed, I was like, holy the fuck.
Yeah, it kind of hits home. Like
if they're moving it along at that pace, what the shit are we in store for?
And also, this episode was 1 hour and 8 minutes, and this was one of the short ones.
Yes.
By their reported
runtime. The second to last one that's like 84 minutes or something?
One of them was feature length, and they are talking about all of the final 6 being feature length. That's a rumor.
God damn.
So ending on 6 movies. Like, Jesus Christ, this show. But yeah, were there any other moments? Just a quick aside, back to the Stark Council meeting. All the shit with Lyanna. I fucking love me Lyanna.
I fucking love that little girl.
She is awesome.
Oh my god.
She has been the show for a grand total of like 5 minutes, and she is just fucking amazing to me.
Yes.
Like that scene where she talks back to the head of one of the other families. I can't remember who exactly it is, but he starts to kind of like smack talk with her, and she shuts him the fuck down, and they end their conversation with this.
Yeah.
Nods, just like, dude, I love her.
He's
so awesome.
Everything about that little girl and everything that we have seen. The first time Jon Snow met her, like, oh my god.
So good.
Oh my god.
Was there anything else that you would like to touch on that we did not? I think we pretty much got to all of the plot lines.
I think we covered it. I think we pretty much covered it.
I think we did.
If anyone actually watches and we forgot something, they will, I'm sure, let us know.
Yeah, it feels like
that's the way YouTube works.
It feels like we touched on most of the major plot lines. If this is your first time checking us out, please like and subscribe. We'll be doing this every Sunday night for all the new episodes. And also, we alluded to it a few times throughout the episode, we were also doing Westerospective. We were on break doing the older seasons just because we're doing this one now. But you can go back on our channel and check out seasons 1, 2, and last season was our first inaugural season of Tonight's Watch. So we have seasons 1, 2, and 6 up in their entirety, and we are halfway done with 3. Yeah, our last 1 and 3 was episode 5, so we're halfway done with that. We have social media links for Facebook and Twitter in the description. Please follow us there, and please share us out to your friends and family. We would greatly appreciate it. For this night and all the nights to come, I'm Geoff.
I'm Ron, and unfortunately, this watch has ended. Damn you.
Damn you, HBO. You blew it up. Damn you all to hell.